Hello, guys, and welcome to week 3 of the Valence League. I'm Oak. Today, I'm going to be casting it alongside Demise. Today's game is going to be hopefully quite an exciting match between Abstract Chaos and Neverland Voyagers. Right off the bat, before we start talking about anything else, because Abstract Chaos did end up, I think they submitted a wrong player name or something, so they've lost 3 bans. So as we head into this draft, we're going to see some of these bans not being put through. Don't worry about that. That's because they've been taken away. Anyway, do you want to say hi, Demise?
Hello, everyone.
And yeah, it's going to be cool. Hopefully, I think that going into the season so far, or this patch even, we've seen a couple of key champions kind of pop up and then disappear again in the meta. So big stuff like Ziggs being so good right now, the nerf of Nocturne and what it's led to in the jungle. So I'm kind of excited to see how these teams can even play through some of those picks.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at the patch, you look at everything that's changing. Xin Zhao is really big on the table. Ziggs is really good in both the mid laner and the bot laner. And, you look at things like that. Do you want to look at the ban? Are they going to ban comfort picks for each other, or are they going to ban, what is the meta?
Well, there is a couple of comfort picks that we looked about beforehand. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ziggs taken away, though. We've seen how big that champion's been so far. But I think we were talking about the Ivan possibly being taken away from Neverland Voyagers, right?
Yeah, we are. And, well, since the game is going to only have, 3 bans in the first phase, because Abstract Chaos have only 3 bans, don't have their first 3 bans. It will be really interesting to see how the draft will go.
Yeah, actually, that means that the Ivan's probably going to make it through even.
Yeah.
So you might see some early shenanigans with that pick. Alongside that, also being red side, you have the courtesy of deciding whether or not you want to leave, how many OPs you want to leave open in ban phase, because especially with the 3 bans being gone, they can kind of dictate which OPs they want to take away and how many they want to leave up, and then decide, okay, well, we're going to take these ones. And so obviously the big picks like the Ziggs, I wouldn't be surprised to see banned away just because it is such a good B1 pick, right? But are there any others we're looking out for?
No, I think the other really big B1 that could go through or couldn't, because looking at Voyagers ban, they're banning Gwen and Xin Zhao, so they're probably banning the OP stuff. The last one is Viego, because they already took off Xin Zhao, which is the really impressive early game jungler, and Gwen as well is the very engage AB comp. So if they're gonna leave Viego open.
Yeah, that champion especially seems to manage to wriggle its way through a lot of drafts because of how, I don't know, malleable it is into, we can pick it into good shit and we can pick it alongside good shit and let it do its own thing. Just like Nautilus is going to get banned away instead, though, so this does have the Viego open to first pick. Other key picks, such as the Ezreal, it's open right now, and I think a lot of teams have been defaulting to that because it's quite easy and relatively safe to pick in the first draft, but Olaf gets picked away instead, so probably a comfort coming in for blue side here.
It is a comfort indeed. I think as well, Kama used to play it a lot lately, so it is really interesting. And the Ivern coming out to match the Olaf, well, that would be a really interesting matchup, because it is the Olaf on a timer. Can the Olaf do things in the first 10 minutes of the game before Ivern is fully geared and has his mythic, has his tier 2 boots, and is matching Olaf at every gank and basically nullifying his impact?
Do you think the Ivern kind of dictates the draft so far, especially with the Seraphine? It looks like they're already leaning really heavily into some kind of team fight comp with a single carry threat.
It looks like it. And I mean, you look at Ivern, Seraphine could also be played mid lane, so you can find another support. So you wouldn't the problem is they lean too heavy into the enchanters against the comp of Abstract Chaos.
It might be leaning a little bit
running into them.
Yeah, it might be leaning a little bit too heavily into Envy's egg basket there, but we see Varus taking away this champion. Seen a lot more play recently through, especially Dustblade being the kind of key build that Varus players have been playing into. Just offers really easily engage options, and that poke can be really good for when you're trying to get rid of some of these early towers, set up for some plates, set up for the first couple of dragons. So, and that alongside the LeBlanc really should be showing what they're trying to do. They're trying to unlock the game in the first 10 and 15 minutes.
They are, and you can see they're playing around for picks. They're trying to find openings to soften up the carries of the of MV, and maybe they're trying to find like a pick or like I don't know, like a quick team fight where they play like the smoke and mirrors game, like LeBlanc just jumps back in and forth, a lot of chains, a lot of sigils, same with Varus, like a lot of arrows, and you see the Galio pick. It is pivoting really heavily into a single carry oriented comp for MV right now.
Yeah, and this is going to mean that a couple of these picks that we want to see now are really, really important to make sure that laning phase goes okay, right? Because you don't want to see the Varus and the LeBlanc get ahead too hard early, because this can really minimize how strong a single carry threat comp is, because that single carry won't have the damage to make up for the LeBlanc and the Varus in this first 20 minutes of the game.
That's true. I mean, look at the bans. The two things that MV can do is either like ban out the comfort picks for the top lane, because top lane hasn't been picked yet. Like, it is guaranteed that Seraphine Galio, one of them is support and the other one is mid lane. I think Seraphine will probably end up support though. But like you look at that, they are pivoting. They are pivoting like into the comp.
Yeah.
And the most important thing right now for them is, since they're red side, they have the counter pick in like the last pick in R5. So are they gonna play for it, or are they gonna just ban stuff against the comp of Abstract Chaos? And as far as you can see, like, they're banning the Brawl, they're banning Leona. They don't want to engage on the enemy team.
Yeah.
They think they're doing good where we are with like protecting the carry, and they want to make sure that Abstract Chaos has as few options as they have.
Absolutely. We also see the Ornn taken away, right? And that's a really solid front line alongside, I think, the Ashe ban. I'm not too sure about the Ashe ban, to be honest, but the Ornn is definitely a really good ban to just take away some of that front line and to maybe create a little bit more space for the Varus and the LeBlanc.
I think it's just because MV has been playing quite a bit of Ashe lately. That's why they're scared of it. But I don't think you would ever like hyper carry an Ashe though. Like, Ashe is usually picked for utility. Like,
would you ever hyper carry an MF?
It depends on which build she goes with and how oppressive the laning phase is. Because so far, it looks like it's gonna be a Varus Alistar bot lane. And like, looking at the team comps, looking at the 2v2, it's the Diana. And the Alistar as well. Yeah, like, Abstract Chaos is just fully like going in. Like, you don't want us to engage, you'll play safe, well, we run into you.
I'm honestly surprised we didn't see a Jinx or a Samira pivot here.
Yeah.
I think both of those champions would have done really well on red side.
Even a Kog'Maw,
Neverland Voyagers.
like you can put Lulu top lane.
Yeah.
Or like you can put a tank top lane, just like pivot a Kog'Maw here.
People don't really rate MF at the moment, but we do see it anyway. Just look like we're going to see a team of Hover as well.
I think
going to be heading into probably a team fighter, probably something. Yeah, there you go. So you get Gnar picked up.
Yeah.
So that opens up things a little bit, because obviously now they can play through topside as well in the early game.
Mm-hmm. So, well, that just puts a small bit of like a question in my head. Like, you look at both comps, you see Abstract Chaos, like they are on a timer because this is a top lane Olaf that's running into the Gnar. And like, you look at the way that the comp is working, like they want to poke you a little bit with like the Varus, the LeBlanc, and then they want to fully engage with Diana and Olaf. And like, you look at MV, they have good disengage. Like, they have the Seraphine ult, they have the Seraphine double E with the passive. Gnar can like try to peel off with Mini and Mega because he has like enough like slows, and eventually with Mega he have like the ultimate and he has the W. Ivern has Daisy, which is really good engage. That's engage. So it is a timer in ABC where they're much stronger for like the first 10-15 minutes, and if MV survives that period, they should be far ahead.
Yeah, so two very different comps really forming for each of these teams. Abstract Chaos really going for a very skirmish heavy, very early game dominated game. So I think gonna see early Drake's gonna be very likely, because they're kind of a necessity to make sure that they can pivot into mid and late game properly. Then we're seeing this really heavy team fight comp come up from Neverland Voyagers. We're seeing a lot of pressure, especially on Envy and Lil Skater Boy. I love that name. To really get some pop off moments coming into the mid game on that 1 and 2 item spike for this kind of comp to really be worth it. So if we're looking at the bot side, especially, and Cryptication, there we go, I'll get all these names eventually. Yeah. We're looking at how Cryptication and his bot side can play. What kind of pressure do we want to see being put out, and how do we want, especially Cryptication, to play in the early game to kind of minimize potential losses?
I mean, it all depends on them scouting where the Olaf is. Because what the Ivern needs to do is just to make sure that he always matches Olaf. Because as soon as you match Olaf as Ivern, you have your shield and you have your Q, which means that before pre-6, you have a really good like ability to just shut down his early ganks. And if you shut him down pre-6, that is really big. Also at Drake fights, I think like you look at a team fight, if it's a level 6 team fight, it could go either way. Like it depends on like would ABC Chicken like find a good like 3-4 man Diana ultimate. If Kamakawiu would find a good angle on the Olaf, and like how the Varus and the Blanca like soften carries. So like all of these are factors, and I think the most important thing for Cryptification is just to find Diana and make sure he matches, and that is all he needs. Like 'cause
Yeah, I think
eventually outscale. Like eventually the shields get too much for the Varus and the LeBlanc to go through.
I think yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure, right? On Abstract Curse. And immediately now I'm looking at this top side, I'm looking at the Olaf and the Gnar matchup, because with the Ivan, especially with really, I think there's a lot of pressure on Cryptication to make sure that Envy and Shadowhopper are in a really good position come this mid game. Kamakawaiul. I'm just call him Kamika. Let's go with that. Kamika's got a lot of pressure now, because if he's able to take advantage of the Gnar side lane, he's going to create a really hard spot for Lil Skater Boy to be in, because he wants to be having his side lane in a position where he can TP into fights consistently. And if Kamakawa or Kamaka is in a good enough point to look for a straight fight and just force Gnar out of lane, doesn't that ends up kind of melding how these team fights are going to work a little bit.
Indeed, but like you look at the matchup, it's like Varus Alistar against MF Seraphine. So unless the Bullet can find a good engage angle, I think like the MF Seraphine is safe enough for the most part. Like unless like they find the level 2 engage and they just like snowball the lane from here, Seraphine MF is really safe. Like you can play your range. Like MF has a lot of range. Seraphine has like healing. She has like damage. She has CC.
We also do see she went into Guardian as well instead of Airy, which is quite interesting. I think she's definitely focused more on getting this lane ahead.
Yeah, because like the thing is with MF Seraphine is that if the Alistar walks into the MFE, Seraphine instantly stuns the Alistar, which shuts down the engage, which is really good. Like they have a lot of slows. Like you have the slow on Ivern that syncs well with Seraphine. You have like the slow from Gnar that syncs well with Seraphine. You have a lot of CC that like enables Misfortune. You have Peel with Daisy, with Iron Shields, with Galio Taunt. So I think the thing that MB wants the most is they want Abstract Chaos to run into them when they are prepared to take the damage and fight back.
Yep, absolutely.
But the most important thing is for them to know when and when not they can fight. Because there will be times where even no matter how prepared you are, even if you know how they're doing it or how they're approaching it, Abstract Chaos will have more damage. And they need to be wary of that part.
Hopefully, we're going to have this loading screen finished up soon, getting into game. We will be pausing at 10 seconds in, just a little reminder to our viewers, just to make sure that the casters, Demise and I are going to be all synced up. And once we're through that, then we'll be able to actually get into game. So just give us a brief moment. As my client refuses to work. There we go.
Well, there we go.
Okay. Yep, just a brief pause at 10 seconds. Great. All good on the caster side. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, and now finally into game 1 of Abstract Chaos versus Neverland Voyagers. We've got Kamaka on top lane. We've got ABC Chicken in the jungle, JPF in mid lane, Dick and Bull in AD carry, and the Bullet 43 in support for Abstract Chaos today. And then on red side, we've got Neverland Voyagers with Lil Skater Boy in the top lane, Cryptication. Always a little bit of skirmishing happens. Blazing Midnight in the mid lane, Envy and AD carry, and Shadowhopper in support. Gonna be, I think, just looking for this early game, I'm surprised we didn't see an invade from Kamako, right? And the rest of his team.
Yeah, I mean, you think they'd try to fish for any opportunity to like get any lead, but they're probably just wary and they don't want to like give Neverland Voyagers an advantage that they cannot recover from. Because if Voyagers are ever ahead, it's really hard for Chaos to come back from deficit.
Yeah, especially I think because these lanes are so volatile, with the LeBlanc being, I think, actually an incredibly important pivot point, because LeBlanc Galio matchup isn't really that great in the first place. Galio has a lot of tools to mitigate his kind of LeBlanc's kind of almost oppressive early game. So there's a lot of pressure on JPF to really kind of pop off in the early game to make sure this pick is actually worth it.
Indeed, and like Galio has the wave clear, he has magic shield from his W passive, and he has a lot of tools. Like if you like try to like distortion into him, he can just stunt you back, and now you're like really exposed for a counter gank.
Yeah, and right now we're witnessing one of his key pressures actually is that it has really good shove into the LeBlanc, right? And she's gonna really struggle to see us under the tower.
Indeed, and you look at Cryptication, he just smited the blue off of Chicken, and that is really big because Diana is mana hungry. And Chicken is going to walk up into it, he's going to find nothing. And now he knows that he's been invaded.
Yeah, and the worst thing as well is that we saw Diana actually do a straight red to blue path, and Cryptication walking into topside for a level 2 gank. Gets a flash out, actually manages to hit the Q, pulls it in, might be able to pick up first bar, but the healing from Kamaka is really high. Okay, the level up actually saves him, and Kamaka ends up going down. Did burn the flasher as well. So flash advantage for Lil Skateboy and Cryptication. This is going to play out really well for Ivan, especially because he's actually managed to put his mark both on the red and Wraiths on his own camps, and he's looking for a repeat gank onto Kamaka now.
He didn't even go for the red, he just like went straight back in.
It's
going to be really interesting because Nara has Mega right now.
Yeah, and he's playing it kind of patient, yeah. And see, Lil Skateboy misses the W. He's not going to be able to land that stun. And, yeah, Mini comes back out. Let's hope Cryptication can now finish up his clear and get on his boss side, because Diana might be looking towards that blue buff.
Indeed, and Diana has a good opportunity to, like, get Scuttle and get even, like, the Gromp and the blue. Because how like, Ivan works.
Shout out to Red side though, they've done a fantastic job. You can see Neverland Voyagers there, set up double vision in that river really early. I love this. This should really minimize kind of Chicken's pathing, because if she does go for either that blue or that Scuttle, then she's going to get spotted out, and Cryptication should hopefully have an answer to it.
Yeah, and you look at bot lane, they have Pryo.
Oh, a little bit of fighting though. Knock up down onto Shadow Hopper, has to flash away. Oh, a bullet flashes back though. Will they be able to find the kill? Ignite gets burnt, but no. Shadow Hopper going to walk out there. Heal and flash burnt for Neverland Voyagers there, but both sums down on Alistair. And also, because of that, Diana was able to find Boss Cutter.
Yeah, bot lane regained Pryo, and that means Diana can find the Scuttle again. But in the same time, Cryptication is just getting free access to his whole jungle and the blue from Chicken.
And I think the advantage of LeBlanc, especially with this Corrupting Pot start, is starting to show now, because you can see Blazing Midnight's mana pool is almost depleted, and this wave isn't really quite in the position as the gank comes in. ABC Chicken jumps forward, doesn't decide to jump in again though. Just going to walk it out and let LeBlanc have the little freeze there.
And well, LeBlanc is going for Ignite. Like, you can feel it. He is urging for a soul kill. He knows if he doesn't get this lane snowballed, or if he doesn't find the roam,
yeah,
that the game will go.
Doesn't have flash, so just going to try and walk out here, but Cryptication has the red buff apply. Going to try and find the kill, double up, doesn't end up killing him, and he gets to walk up with just a slither of HP. Just a load of back and forth happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of small skirmishes, and Blazing Midnight has TP back to lane, and that is going to force the LeBlanc to recall. And the first dragon is spawning in a little bit. You can see bot lane having Pryo. Galio is probably going to have Pryo because he has the control of the wave since LeBlanc is recalled. And there is a TP advantage on the Gnar.
Yeah, and this is a big downside of running the Ignite versus the TP, right?
Like, yeah, like you can see that he has to walk back to lane. He has to deal with his wave being shoved. Envy has the free access to the Ocean Rake, and they're going to take it uncontested.
And even with this not being an Ocean Soul for Neverland or Abstract to try and pick up, this Ocean Soul is going to really benefit Neverland's comp, because they are trying to self-sustain in lane. They are going through extended laning phase and playing it generally safe and trying to get HP from trades. Same time, Little Skateboy is his flashpoint out. Chicken flashes forward. Won't be able to find the damage though. I don't think so. Little Skateboy using that W passive to get that movement speed. He's being chased down. JPF jumps in, picks up the kill as well. So now 1-1 even. And Little Skateboy had to flash. Didn't end up saving his own life though. So flash down now in the top lane.
It is, and it is really big that the kill went into LeBlanc, because now LeBlanc has like more freedom against the Galio.
And like, you can see the lack of damage there. She used Mimic, she used Mimic Sigil. I can speak, and wasn't really able to chunk Blazing Midnight to even a quarter HP or down from full. So the damage isn't really there, even with him not being on Mercs yet. You can see just the Dark Seal and the Dorans being more than enough defenses for him. And this TP has really benefited him because he's just been able to create already a 10 CS leading lane.
Indeed, and you can see that LeBlanc doesn't even have the Lost Chapter yet. And that kill is going to really alleviate a lot of mana pressure onto JP. Because now he can like recall after this wave, get a Lost Chapter, and try to match him at least in wave clear.
Anyway, big wave shoving in from bot side. Looks like we're going to see if Dick and Bull Benny is going to try and find a reset there. But just poking out, creating a little bit of pressure. As we see, Cryptication path down to boss side. Does have 3 camps available right now. Maybe looking to get a little bit more pressure on this lane now that both summoners are burnt for Abstract Chaos's bot side. Diana finding a really good clear path. Going to be able to pick up her second blue, even though she wasn't able to pick up her first. And Scuttle spawn on top side. So Chicken's got a really good path ahead.
Indeed, and you can see like Chicken is almost 2 camps ahead of Cryptication. And Cryptication is actually trying to play a wrong bot side, but the thing is, Cryptication is allowed to be behind because his items are much cheaper. Like even the Mythic is like almost like 600 gold less than what Diana would be going for, which is
maybe a little bit of a skirmish comes in the top lane. Kamaka just starting a little fight there. Kind of the Olaf top lane showing a little bit of supremacy here. Lil Skate Pop's really low. The ulti found a Chicken. Blows up Lil Skater Boy with the moonfall, picking up another kill for himself. And yeah, you can see clear speed is really benefiting this Diana now. She's able to spend more time looking for gank. Same time, a little bit of fight happening in mid lane. Doesn't mean too much though. As Cryptication level down, not going to be able to contest this Scuttle. And yeah, overall, really in favor. Oh, as it gets stolen away by Blazing Midnight. 100 gold going to Blazing there.
That's really unlucky. And I mean, maybe if Cryptication had Daisy there, he had a really good chance contesting with Chicken. But since he doesn't, now you kind of are stuck.
I think the bigger thing was that when Chicken ganked top lane, he used Red Smite on Gnar when he really didn't need to. And that led to him not having the Smite available for the Scuttles. So it ends up going away to Blazing Midnight there. So it's finding little things to benefit his team, as they're going to try and find probably another shove into this LeBlanc to get a reset or to look for some vision pressure. And you can see that Neverland Voyagers have done a really good job of creating some really nice linear vision across this river.
Yeah, and you can see like they don't want to be pushed. They want to make sure that everybody's okay. They want to make sure that the Gnar doesn't get too far behind, especially that the bot lane is stable. Like the only lane that is like having a hard time is the Gnar. But like you can see, like the bot lane is doing pretty well. Galio is really managing the LeBlanc really well. He doesn't take that much damage from her to begin with. And like yeah, like the only thing he has to worry about right now is just like securing dragons, make sure you don't get invaded too hard.
Oh, some trading happens in mid lane and Cryptication does show his face. But yeah, you're right, the clock is ticking for Abstract Chaos. They haven't really been able to find that meaningful of a lead. We've got some kills from Diana. That 300 gold lead is quite big, but first Drake was given over to Cryptication and the bot side of Neverland Voyagers. So I mean, it's really kind of neck and neck right now. I think we're going to be hopefully seeing, especially once the Varus hits his Dustblade, we should see some pressure start to flip onto blue side. And then we're going to be seeing how Cryptication and the rest of his team counterbalance that.
Indeed, and we have Infernal Dragon coming up in 15 seconds. Cryptication is ready to share his blue with probably Midnight. And that is probably going to be the big team fight that's going to happen right now. And you can see like both top laners have their teleports available. It's gonna mean that if they really want to fight over that Infernal, it's gonna be full on 5v5. But so far, Envy is first at Drake. They're getting some objective control. They're getting the vision that they need to. And
so the big thing then, exactly, and the big thing now is seeing actually how do they fight as well, because we know exactly what Abstract Chaos want to do. They're looking to kind of secure these skirmishes early, look for a single pick, but once Cryptication and Blazing Midnight are on the buffer in the area for the fight, it's really hard for Chicken to play the fight properly because of the amount of peel they have for Envy to do his thing. So hopefully going to see an interesting fight happen here. Just going to be clearing a little bit of vision, just kind of stabilizing it all. Maybe we'll look to see if Kamaka and Little Skater Boy are going to TP into this fight.
Indeed, and you can see JPF is just trying to find an angle, but both him and everybody on ABC is spotted on the ward.
You see them, they're getting chunked out by the Drake here. The AoE hitting all 4 of them each
coming
time.
In.
Chicken looking to create space on the Drake. They go on the Drake. Looks like, triple knock up onto Little Skater Boy. Galeotti comes out. They're going to start to kite back Cryptication, getting chunked though. At the same time, Blazing Midnight trying to create some space. Almost popping JPF, but flashes away at the same time. Whereas Kamaka also ends up dying in the bot lane, but does pick up Shadowhopper shortly afterwards. And then Barris finishing off Blazing Midnight just there. Flash ended up being wasted, and they also ended up picking up that Infernal too, managing to pick up a really nice kill lead. 3 for 1, as at the same time we do see Mega Nardbone and picks up a kill. So we saw kills being given back and forth there, but a secure gold lead has been given to Abstract Chaos at this time, as well as being able to pick up that Infernal, which definitely at the same time as that Ocean really benefits their comp.
Yeah, that Inferno is really huge because they're trying to find lethals. They're trying to find like 100 to 0s. And that is really important on both the LeBlanc, the Diana, and the Olaf even, to an extent. But yeah, like you can see the fight, like the timing was just unfortunate. Nard didn't have Mega yet. And there was a really beautiful Alistar like WQ that cancelled the MF ultimate. That was really pivotal for that team fight because that is like a lot of the early damage of MF. That isn't the ultimate and it got instantly cancelled. And you can see, like, you can feel that, like, ABC played around the fact that Nard doesn't have Mega, and they just engaged before he had the time to do so.
Yeah, very, very, really good engage from the Bullet, and I think fantastic follow-up as well from JPF to really try and pressure up on those kills. Found a lot of them and created a lot of special alongside Chicken, so very well played. And you can see the aftermath of that fight as well is a little bit, maybe a pick in the mid lane. It's probably not going to result in much, though. Oh, Daisy gets burnt, though. They're looking for a fight. It's 3v2. Cryptication has to flash out. Knock up down onto 2. JPF ends up getting chunked quite low. As Daisy's walking forward, she doesn't give a damn. Trying to find a pick onto the Bullet, but doesn't really seem to care. But we saw from the aftermath there that not only did they end up getting the kill lead, Abstract Chaos also set up their waves in a really good spot because they managed to pick up a little bit more gold with the wave shoving after they finished off that Drake as well. So
yeah, and Chicken is coming in from River. I think MB is really having too much.
Yeah, Chicken finds a really good Moonfall there. Looking for the final pick. Finds the Moonfall again and really good. Ends up picking up another kill. Going onto Chicken again. And that's going to be a really good pivot point for them coming into this mid game. Is this really strong Diana?
Yeah, I really think they just underestimated the fact that Diana can wrap around. Maybe they didn't account for the magical boots.
And also, you can see that vision was actually really dealt with effectively on this top side. We talked about it before. Oh, as the Seraphine ulti gets blown into the MF ulti, what a fantastic combo. Ends up picking up a kill onto Dick and Ball. Benny falls down, and yeah, we saw the vision on the top side, right? They did have that linear line. It got swept away, and Chicken was able to find that flank in the mid lane.
I mean, I think that they're just like submitting the fact that the Nard is going to be playing perma weak side now. And you can see like a lot of their vision right now is just focused on the bottom side of the lane.
Yep.
Like anyway, you can see like Wars and River, Tribush.
Chicken and Kamaka on this, but a reflex found onto Chicken. Getting ulti burn at the same time. Olaf pops the Ragnarok. Gonna see if he can find a kill on Cryptication. Does, but probably gonna end up falling here. Stopwatch used on a slither of HP, and the kill gets ended up going to Blazing Midnight. That also gives him the pro on this Herald as well. That's probably gonna be heading on to somebody too, and Blazing Midnight picks it up. So overall, another very small win for Abstract Chaos. Okay. The Chains of Corruption ends up missing onto Blazing Midnight. Will he hit the Q? Does, but the damage just isn't enough. At the same time, Little Skater Boy finding a flank here. But Chicken decides it's not your flank, it's mine. Goes for the ult and uses the Moonfall. And you can see Little Skater Boy getting absolutely chunked out, and the kill ends up going to Chicken again. 4-0-2 on the Diana right now, looking really good. As Exhaust is burned, Envy's in a really bad spot, and another kill given away. This isn't the kind of thing we want to see right now, and that kill ends up going on to Dick and Bull Benny. And this should maybe even open up this mid tower.
Yeah, I think this has really opened a lot up. You can see Diana is really huge. She's 4-0-3. And I didn't know what Envy was doing. Envy and like Shadow Hopper, they were really lost in the river. They had no business being there. And yeah, like you can see, it was a good trade for the Herald. Maybe a little late of a daisy from Cryptification, but it was like good enough. They still got the trade, they got the Herald, but then like they overextended in the fight that they probably couldn't win. Maybe they didn't know like how strong the Olaf and the Diana are. And you can see right now like they are angling and denying Cryptification of his blue buff.
And Kamikaze and the rest of his team, they're just gonna walk in, maybe see if they can secure this blue buff. Daisy does end up getting burnt. We've got Dragon spawning in under 20 seconds now. So more vision being cleared as they try and set up maybe a little bit of a chokehold for this, but JPF finding a tether onto Blazing Midnight, but gets absolutely chunked out on a slither of HP at the same time. Kamikaze playing into the boss side. This team is really split and getting chunked out. Daisy looking for the knockup, Ragnarok burn, trying to find a kill onto Shadow Hopper, but Blazing Midnight picks it up, and they have complete security over this Drake now. Are they going to try and extend kills? They are. Chicken almost caught out, but ends up burning the flash. This Drake is definitely going to Neverland Voyagers now, unless we see maybe a steal being put for Chicken, but it does look like he's going to give it up.
Yeah, he's just doing the crux. And you can see the reason that this fight went much better than it should have been, like looking at the history of the skirmishes in the fights between Abstract Chaos and Voyagers, is because the fight was split up. Like there was a half where there was Kama on his own, and then behind him there was Chicken and JPF under the bonk. And on the other side, it was just like the Virus and the Alistar, and the Alistar couldn't do anything. He couldn't peel for Kama, he couldn't help Kama, he couldn't like try to find anything.
Yeah, Herald gets burnt in the mid lane. They do end up picking up first tower, going towards the rest of the team. That Herald ends up getting some little bit of extra gold there. And yeah, I think you saw there, the pick onto Blazing Midnight wasn't really enough. He's in a really strong spot right now to be a pseudo frontline for his team. So when they see Abstract Chaos trying to look for picks, you're right, they need to be together. But who are they trying to look for picks for?
I think mainly the two people that they're really trying to find picks on are Cryptification and either Envy or Shadow Hopper, depending on who's like in a worse position. But yeah, like usually like seeing the positioning of them, I think like the easiest pickup is gonna be Cryptification, because he's gonna spend a lot of the time in the jungle, and you can easily like clear vision with the Alistar. You can like move in packs, like you can send Chicken and JPF in like a pack to try to hunt Cryptification. Maybe you can even like send the Alistar to try to like lessen the pressure of Blazing Midnight if he's gonna like follow up on the roam. But yeah, I think the most two important pickups are the shields. Are gonna be the Ivern, and are gonna be the Seraphine.
Absolutely, and especially with them being Red Trinket as well, they're going to be the ones clearing the vision, pushing up ever so slightly to try and make sure that they are in position for these upcoming team fights. So picks on those are to be expected. Chicken going to clear some vision out in the mid lane right now. Still looking really strong. This Diana has yet to give away that shutdown, sitting on 450 gold right now. Really big champ. And if we look at the gold difference real quick, you'll see that you'll see that the Dianas are a whole 2k ahead right now, which means that on top of that, that Seekers, she's going to be maybe building into that Zhonya's before Ivan's even on that ult, as JPF jumps forward. Not going to find much though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can see like Ivan's items are much cheaper than Diana's. Like you can see like relatively they're on even footing, even though Diana spent a lot much more money.
Maybe a pick made onto Little Skater Boy, but he dodges the Diana Q. He doesn't care. He's fine. He's chilling in the top side. At the same time, we see Shadow Hopper extending some of that vision back down on the bot side in response, clearing out that pink in the mid lane.
And yeah, like Nar doesn't mind, because like Nar has his hop, he has his HP. He's almost close to Mega, so if that dive came in from the Diana, I think he would have been able to survive it either way, if not turn it around. And all that happens on our ganks and our like engages are the most important thing is like you need to time the rage bar. Oh, there's a coming in from bot lane.
And JPF playing with fire right there. Just kind of distracting them so that maybe a little bit of vision is lost in this bot side. Sorry, CS is lost even. Gonna try and mess with Blazing Knight just a little bit here.
Everyone?
Oh, W found ends up chunking out JPF really hard there, and they're trying to look for the kill. You can see Blazing Midnight flashing forwards, using that, not able to find the hero's art, but ends up dashing away. At the same time, the camera cuts to Dick and Bull Benny in the mid lane. We don't get to see the finale of that, but it does look like JPF ends up slithering away there.
Yeah, and you can see in the top side, they get in the tower. They're trying to find any kind of gold, like be on even footing with Envy right now. And yeah, eventually, even if you have the gold lead, it's not going to be big enough, because you can see like there's a lot of value in both the mountain and the ocean that Envy has.
Yeah, they have got the 2 Drake lead right now, and we talked about the fact that Chicken and the rest of his team, the whole of Abstract Chaos, really want to find this soul point as early as possible to mitigate some of their fall-off points, right?
Yeah, and it's going to be a Cloud Soul, a Mountain Soul, either way. So like Mountain Soul is really big for both Envy and Abstract. Abstract needs to deny it really hard, because it really lessens the power of LeBlanc. Because now you need to chew through like an extra 200-300 damage that you may or may not have. Like, sure, the Diana could probably output the damage, but Diana isn't the one that's playing the Smoke and Mirrors game.
Yep. And that's the thing, MR is an easy pickup option for the majority of Neverland Voyagers. Bullet and Kamaka just walking forward, trying to set up some basic vision for this dragon spawning in a minute. You can see the team's a little bit dysfunctional right now. Kamika's in a really aggressive position right now, looking for the flank on the fight. As Galio starts to walk into JPF and Chicken, just playing to look for a front kind of engage as the Olaf looks for this flank. We saw in previous fights that Ragnarok is a really effective tool at finding kill trades and slimming out the line of Cryptication and Shadowhopper. So Daisy gets burnt, but the knock up onto Chicken, you can see the positioning, but we can see that Blazing Midnight and the rest of his team are in that 5-man stack now.
Yeah, and the most important thing is Kama hasn't been spotted yet. Right now, like he's still on the blue.
They try and make a pick, but once again, JPF gets immediately chunked. Bullets chunked too as well. Meganar gets blown. They see Ragnarok on the side, gets burnt. He's so low, just eyes only on Envy. Envy gets completely smashed out. But which fight is, which team is winning? Chicken's chunked super low. JPF almost killed by Shadowhopper. JPF ends up falling, or Cryptication even ends up falling to Lil Skater Boy. And we're just going to see some pressure forward to try and pick up the remnants of Abstract Chaos. The fight went, I think, ultimately really well for Neverland Voyagers. They managed to find a fight where they can kite back long enough to slim down the to play through the Ragnarok and the rest of this comp. They engaged too hard in Envy and tunneled too hard in Envy, and in turn they were kind of punished, right?
Yeah, you can see like Kama just tunneled in on Envy. He had access to both Shadowhopper and to like the Galio. And Galio hasn't bought any armor, so he would have been easily chunked by him, but he chose to go after Envy, which was like the deepest person away from where he was at the blue buff. And that really like costed him a lot of HP through his Ragnarok, and he just got exhausted and couldn't finish him off.
Yep.
Anyway, and like so the thing that started the fight there, right? Yeah, they're on soul point right now, and like it's really strong because now they have like 12% MR against both the Diana that actually gave the shutdown and the LeBlanc. And like the lethality on Varus is probably almost nullified by the 3rd Drake if they get the 3rd mountain.
We're gonna see some pressure coming out. They do JPF and his team end up picking up this mid tower here. So that's gonna open them up to maybe create some deeper vision. But I mean, we've been looking at the game so far, and we've seen Shadowhopper and Cryptication have done a fantastic job of creating some baseline vision. Maybe a pick onto Kamaka, ends up using the Ragnarok, but he won't be able to use his blast cone. That's not yours to take. And he's just getting chunked really low. The Envy's chasing him down, but he's just got the speed available, and the final shot ends up killing him. Really well played. This is a member down. They may be looking for another fight here, though, because JPF and the Bullet are kind of pushed up.
Yeah, and JPF just used both of his distortions. I think now they're going to just rush the Baron.
And when they're looking for this Baron right now, are they looking to peel? Are they looking to fight? Or are they just trying to take it as quickly as possible?
I don't think that without Kama that Abstract has enough damage to contest them, so they're just probably going to burst it down. And you can see even Abstract feels like it, and they're just trying to trade T2.
What a fantastic Baron coming out. This is going to be a really big pivot point for them now. They're now even in gold. They get all the XP from that Baron. You're seeing Blazing Midnight and Lil Skater Boy actually have a level lead on their lane and counterparts. And this Baron's going to really minimize how much threat the LeBlanc and the Diana have, because they're the wave clear for this team, right?
They are, and the problem is that they cannot match you anymore. They can't match the Baron enhanced minions. LeBlanc doesn't have enough damage, and she needs to put herself in front with a distortion to AP most of the time, which is really dangerous considering like you have the Galio, you have the Seraphine to follow up, you have the Iron Q that can just come into you if you're trying to clear it. You have the Seraphine.
We're just seeing the rundown now. I think they have a really easy option to just run it down mid lane. This comp is a fantastic ARAM comp, and because they have the combination of having the Nata TP in alongside with Daisy and as Ragnarok's flying, but he gets exhausted and you can see he just gets chunked out. Billet tries to engage with him, but the Encore gets burnt. LeBlanc tries to jump forward, but she's diving so deep the damage just isn't there. Chicken tries the same, but he gets CC comboed into his death, as does the Bullet. A wipe coming out from Neverland Voyagers there. This comp just showing its prowess at this ARAM with the Baron having that enabled. You saw the Encore was fantastic from Shadowhopper there to minimize the threat onto Envy. LeBlanc double distortions in, but she just isn't able to have the damage with Cryptication's shielding. And yeah, team gets wiped out, and they're going to be looking for an inhib, and maybe even finishing the game.
Oh, that was a really good Everprox. But yeah, like you can see in the team fight, like you didn't have enough damage. You couldn't like chew through the shields that are coming on from Cryptification and Shadowhopper. And like they even have the power of the Baron that gives you AP and like AD. That means that like the shields have more oomph into them. And like they couldn't get through them. The Chicken couldn't even get close enough to Envy. It had to be JPF that comes in with a double distortion just to reach Envy. And like he couldn't do enough.
Clear out the entire blue side jungle, putting all that gold onto Envy. He's going to pick up 3 camps. They're sorting out their side lanes as well. So immediately, as soon as these resets happen, they're going to be straight back on the pressure point again. And now the game, this side lane, this side tower should be hopefully quite easy to unlock. Oh, as JFP just oversteps so much, and the Nard damage is huge. Actually demolishes JPF, and he gets knocked down for free. And Lil Skaterboy's in a really good spot now. He still has the opportunity to look for this tower here. At the same time, Blazing Midnight got us resetting early. He's now on boss side to pressure, and this mid inhib's going to pressure in.
Yeah, and they can see like right now, like Lil Skaterboy is level 15, Olaf is only 12. So this is looking really grim for Stack Chaos, because like your main carries are all either behind or an even footing, but it's not really even footing if you are the Diana that was like at 1.40 and now you're even footing with the Ivern. It has been like starved the whole game, and you have been like trying to like deny him like camp, resources, vision, the whole game.
Yeah, and this is the big issue with playing against these supportive style champions, because they're running this double support. They're both able to access 2 items way quicker. Oh, as Kamaka looking to get caught on this boss side here. Ragnarok burnt, but he's got nowhere to run. Flashes into Envy, but just doesn't have the damage. He gets blown up. You know, free kill and flash, and the ulti burnt. This is fantastic tempo for him.
It is, and the Olaf is too weak, and he shouldn't have been there to begin with, because like, why are you there? You have
Red
no
Trinket
vision.
scouts out Chicken, and Daisy's just gonna sit there and guard out the Drake here. And Cryptication doesn't really care. You can see he's also 2 items right now, even with that gold deficit, even being 1.5k down, he doesn't care. He's on that the stuff of the flying water. Shadowhopper at the same time onto Purifier, and they're just gonna chunk out this Drake here.
This is the do or die right now.
Oh, Bullet engages in. JPF's trying to look for some damage, chunks down Envy to half HP, but has to flash back. And the only person there left trying to uses distortion to jump away, gets chunked really low, but that's soul given to Neverland Voyagers, and Chicken maybe getting caught out here, has to flash out at the same time. Changes Corruption's burn. You can see Lil Skaterboy still looking for the damage here. He's so tanky. There's no reason why they can't die in this, but he leaves it. At the same time, JPF just running that far away for no reason, and they're looking really good to start to pressure this boss side.
Yeah, maybe JPF was just too scared that if they stagger his death, then they would probably try to end the game. But like, yeah, like it all started with the Olaf overextension. Like he was just too far forward. He got caught off. He wasted his Ragnarok. He wasted his flash, and then they got the soul.
And this
like,
is almost
after the soul is like basically free. Like you cannot shoot through all the shields. You cannot just go through the soul. You cannot go through Shadowhopper. You cannot go through Cryptification. And like now MF even have a Bloodthirster, which is even another shield on top of that.
Yeah, and a vindication for that, with this soul being unlocked, is the Galio's now sitting on 100 MR and 146 armor right now. The Galio's looking really big. Ivan and Seraphine are both above that MR limiter for where you want to start to look for Void Star. So, and you can see LeBlanc only on 2 items right now. Doesn't have the opportunity to itemize into the items that she wants because she's just been gold star. Her CS is way down where it should be, and you can see that she tries to wave clear and immediately is punished for it. Won't be surprised to see a second Baron set up for here as well as maybe looking for this inhib, right?
I think they are gonna just try to find the second Baron and try to find the turn on Abstract Chaos. You can see right now like they are fishing because they know that they are much stronger. They know that like the enemy team is at such a big deficit. They can just do whatever they want. They cannot contest them unless things really go terribly wrong.
And the big question now is how can Chicken and the rest of his team try and find a single pick? Because Cryptication and the rest of his team, they're playing so united. They're all playing together. They're going to start. We're going to start this Baron as well, and I really see no way that they can contest this.
Yeah, and you can see like LeBlanc with the Sigil and the Mimic with the Sigil does no damage to Cryptification.
Yeah, and Lil Skateboard going to hit Mega as they're looking for the engage. Triple hit. That Gallia ulti gets burnt. Encore burn. Ragnarok burning inside. Envy's chunk to half HP. The Baron's falling really low, but the kills are going over to red side. Looks like Neverland Voyagers are winning this fight as they're low, but they're still going for the Baron. Going to pick up this Baron here, and LeBlanc desperately trying to find a flank here. This isn't going to happen. 3 members are down. Blazing Midnight, TP's into mid lane. They're going to try and end this game.
Yeah, they just double TP. They just want to end the game right now before LeBlanc can recall. And like you can see, like they don't have enough damage anymore to cope with the shields. They don't have enough damage to even like shoot through the mountain. So
yep, even with a fantastic engage from Bullet 43 there, the gold deficit was too big. The Mountain Soul was too strong, and it looks like Blazing Midnight and the rest of his team are going to secure. That is game 1 going over to Neverland Voyagers, and Abstract Chaos just weren't able to find the lead that they wanted with that kind of comp.
Indeed, and even though they did find some sort of early lead on the Diana, and they had like a good lane position on the Olaf, it just wasn't enough. Bot lane had good prio. Galio always had prio on the LeBlanc, and that meant Cryptification was able to just like scale up on his 2 main items, get his mythic. Like Shadowhopper and Envy were never really threatened, and it was really good. Like they had like their easy time in bot lane to cruise. They weren't really that threatened, even by Diana, which mainly played around topside, and then like the Olaf fell off because eventually you can't shoot through all of the shields and like all the kiting and the exhaust.
Yeah. Well played to both teams. Either way, I think Chicken had a really good game 1 there, even coming into, had a really fantastic early game, just was shut down so hard by what I consider quite a good draft from Neverland Voyagers. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be right back with you for game 2 of Abstract Chaos vs Neverland Voyagers. Stay in Twitch chat. Hello, guys, and welcome back to Game 2 now of Abstract Chaos versus Neverland Voyagers. Really exciting Game 1 that we saw, and I think something really cool, which is that we saw really separate drafts happen. Abstract Chaos going for this really early game dominant comp, trying to get the Diana, the Seblanc, and the Olaf really ahead. At the same time, Neverland Voyagers found, well, I mean, to be fair, obviously, we didn't see ban. Abstract Chaos were unable to ban, so Cryptication was able to get on his patented Ivan, and they created a really good kind of counter-engaging comp. So I think I'm kind of excited to see how drafts happen in Game 2 now that Abstract Chaos don't have have bans available now.
And yeah, like you look at the game, like you can feel that Abstract felt they are on a timer. They did pretty well for the early enough part of the game, but it wasn't good enough to the point where they blow the game open and like Neverland Voyagers can't recover because they can recover.
And the big issue with that, right, was that I think the solo lanes were kind of opened up a little bit too early in draft.
Yeah, like they in the first 3 rotations for blue side, they showed the LeBlanc, they showed the Olaf, and they showed the Varus. You're basically asking them, you're like, hey, we can see your Ivern, we're gonna draft stuff that are gonna run into your Ivern. And like, hey, like you can deal with it however you want. And like they did. They just picked the Seraphine, they picked the Galio, which really denied anything that the LeBlanc can do for the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in that kind of draft rotation, we normally see stuff like counter pick held for these big important roles, especially mid and support, right? You want to see those lanes excel, and the biggest ways you can do that is by enabling this counter pick. So hopefully, especially with bans being available now, Abstract Chaos can maybe find JPF an option to pop off, because the Galio versus LeBlanc matchup was kind of hard to watch because JPF really had almost no pressure onto Blazing Midnight in that matchup.
Yeah, and you can see like eventually it got to the point where he couldn't even shoot through the magic shield of the Galio, like in like mid game. It was just really sad to see. And like, yes, bot lane went even, but even is really terrible when you have Neverland Voyagers comp, because like then you can never deal with it. And like, I'm not taking anything away from anyone in Stack Chaos because the Bullet played a really good game. He had really good engages. Like for the first 2-3 skirmishes, like around the first few drakes, he really denied MV like the opportunity to do much. Like there were times where the Bullet just like straight up, like the moment that MV ults, you can find the Bullet W queuing to him or flash queuing to him.
And the pivotal fight for them as well was like that Baron, right? Where they, I think if in any other gold situation, they would have won, because the Bullet 43 found a fantastic pulverized engage onto 3 members at the same time. JPF actually found damage on the backline, right? But the problem is that they have been counter drafted and they were in that gold deficit.
Yeah, and like you can see, like the deficit was big to the point where Shadowhopper and Cryptification were shielding enough, and that was it. Like they had 2 mountains at that point, if I remember correctly. So that's a lot of MR. That's a lot of armor to deny most of the lethality of the Varus. And then, like, what can he do? You can't even like chew through their HP bars enough to the point where you have lethal on the LeBlanc, and the LeBlanc doesn't even do enough to have a good lethal.
Yeah.
Like usually, like you pick the LeBlanc where you're looking for like 70% lethal. Like you try to like soften them up a little bit with like some distortion, some sigil, mimic, like poke, and then you try to find the kill on the objective. But the point is, through the shields, they never found the lethal, and the lethal was much lower than it should have been because the LeBlanc had a Galio matchup that basically told her you're not playing the game.
And another pick that I think was really important in draft that we probably didn't talk about enough in the first game was the Seraphine, right? This pick got picked in second rotation, well, on red side R2, and this is a pick that's been incredibly dominant and competitive now for a long period of time, and often seen pick and is often pick or banned. So my question was, why didn't Kamaka and the rest of his team take it away?
I think they just thought that they would control the early game enough, but now we're in the ban phase of game 2. I'm wondering if they're just gonna stick to what they know and do the early engage comps, or are they gonna be wary of how like Neverland Voyagers play, and they're just gonna deny it. And you can see like with the first Iron ban, they don't want any more of this.
Yeah,
they're just like, yeah, keep your shields away, man.
And even if they do try and draft into that, there are draft orders and bans they can do to kind of help maximize that kind of comp. We see looks like new Neverland Voyagers are going to ban away the the Nautilus, which they banned game 1, as well as the Xin Zhao as well. At the same time, we also see Galio taken away from Blazing Midnight. So we're seeing some very key picks from game 1 taken away.
Yeah, and that gives me the feeling that like they may just go back to the same comp and they're like, hey, we have our bans now. This was just a game that we didn't have bans. We can do this. We know what we're good at, and we're gonna do it.
And interestingly, we've seen the Gwen banned again. This time they are blue side, so they have the option of first picking that Ashe taken away as well from Envy. So we talked about that last game as well. Big pick for Envy to play, right? So we're seeing a few key champions taken away, which would hold a lot of priority in this B1 slot. So what are they going to pick now?
Well, you have the option to pick Viego. You have the option to pick a flex. Like,
yep. Mm-hmm.
And like you can look at it, and well, I think they're just gonna pick something that is gonna try. Yeah, surfing. You see, like they're just trying to take away things that are good.
And just like the Nocturne, the Viego, it's a fantastic flex option as well because it can be pivoted into mid or support, and it benefits a lot of comps because it has a wide range of diversity. It functions as an engage, appeal, and a shielding kind of option for different team comps. So very, very good B1 pick for Neverland Voyage. So now it's up to Abstract to respond.
Yes, and the thing about like Seraphine is it's a neutralizing lane. Like if you're put at mid or support, then like the enemy can't do much about it.
Exactly. Kai'Sa and Hecarim locked in. And I think, again, you kind of talked about it before, but Hecarim, especially with the changes he got back in 11.2, he's been pivoted very much into being a early game focused champion because he has to build into the AD, especially now. He's definitely very mid focused, mid game focused. So alongside with the Kai'Sa, we're seeing a real kind of misfortunes blocked for Envy again.
Yeah, and it seems Envy just wants to repeat the last game. Like they can see like they're gonna pick the Kindred. Now they don't have the Ivern. What is the second thing that gives us like control? And they're gonna pivot to the Kindred, and the Kindred would be a really good pick. Like as long as you can avoid being pushed out of the ultimate by the Hecarim, it is really strong into what Abstract Chaos seems to be going in, which is a really engage heavy comp again, but this time with the Kai'Sa instead of the Varus.
Just gonna see what's being picked third for red side for Abstract Chaos. Obviously, after this pick, they have the opportunity to double ban, then go into fourth pick as well. So it's a really good option to pick blind mid lane, which they do. They pick Ahri. An interesting pick because we don't see a lot of this champion in competitive play.
I mean, the thing with Ahri is that she's the jack of all trades with master of none. She has okay wave clear. She has good pick potential, but not the best. Like it's nowhere near LeBlanc. She has like good consistent damage. She has okay range. It's not like a Vel'Koz or a Xerath, but she's not like really Rise. And she's really safe. And maybe that's what they're looking for. They're just trying to find something safe, and like they're just gonna play on the charm, on like the option to like get something done.
And the big thing is they've got Blazing Midnight off this Galio as well. So that really minimalizes how much JPF needs to put effort into his lane because he can just chill and wait for level 6 and start to roam just like he would have done on the LeBlanc in a regular game. Anyway, we see Gnar taken away as well as Set. Obviously, a lot of top picks and bans being banned away now. A lot of focus, especially probably onto Little Skater Boy, to make sure that he doesn't get in a position where he was before because we saw Kamika wasn't really able to find a big lead on Little Skater Boy.
Yeah, and you can see like right now the things that are left up are mostly gonna be tanks. There could be an Ornn ban right here, and it's an Anivia ban. They're just trying to find Ahri an easy matchup, I guess. And like you look at it, like when if you are Abstract Chaos, you've shown your mid lane, you've shown your AD carry and your jungle, and you're probably gonna leave the counter pick the top lane. So right now, a support pick is really important. So that could be what Neverland's gonna ban.
Gonna see what's going to be taken away finally. Ornn gets taken away, as you mentioned. We said tanks were going to get taken away, and now fourth pick given to Bullet. So what pick do you want to see here?
I think that the problem is Ahri doesn't really fit. I mean, she does fit in the comp of Engage, but she doesn't really work that well as other mid laners. But yeah, Braum would be good. Braum is good engage, good disengage. He like synergizes really well with Kai'Sa. And like yeah, you can find a lot of pressure if with the Hecarim especially on the bot lane if it's gonna be an MF Seraphine bot lane again.
does make that Kai'Sa Braum lane a lot more consistent because you have a lot more safety for that Kai'Sa to get through this early game if they do pivot the Seraphine into this bot lane. Because MF Seraphine is kind of a scary lane. At the same time, Tara gets hovered. This is the kind of pick where you'd really want to see, and Nico locked in instead. Okay, so much more standard kind of stuff we'd want to see from Valence League, right? Nico is quite a unique champion. Obviously, she's got the opportunity to copy her teammates, as well as having a really big team fight orientated ultimate. So there's a lot of pressure on Blazing actually to make sure this pick works, because if it doesn't do well coming into the mid game, this champion can fall off quite hard as fights get a little bit more quicker, and especially looking to the comp he's playing into, picks are definitely going to get more. They're going to be more intense because you're going to see JPF, and ABC looking to get picks quickly, find kills quickly, and play through that. At the same time, Malphite's locked in for Little Skater Boy.
Yeah, and you can see like the comp that Neverland Voyagers are playing is just a standard front to back with the back three of Seraphine, MF, and Kindred that is trying to survive the engage. And now you can see Jax is a really good answer. He's really good into Kindred. He's really good into Misfortune.
Does he do well into Malphite though? This is the issue I see with this.
Lane.
Yeah,
exactly. He's
exactly.
struggling into lane, but I mean, you have Hecarim, and Hecarim can just go where he pleases basically in this game. It's to Kindred. Like as long as he denied the marks, like you're really stronger in the 2v2. And like Neverland Voyagers are just trying to play a standard front to back with like Malphite, Nico, a little bit in the middle. And then like you have the back three that are just like bracing themselves for the engage.
Yeah, the big issue I have with Abstract Chaos's comp so far is that it's really easy for Malphite to itemize almost solely into armor, because Ahri's never a tank threat in the first place. So I want to see how Benny and the rest of his team can kind of pivot to find damage onto Malphite if these front to backs do start happening, because this is a really good double backline threat coming from Neverland Voyagers.
Indeed, and the thing with Chaos is like you had the counter lane. You could have picked whatever you want, and you picked the lane that doesn't really like it serves well holistically, but does it get out of lane with enough comfort to the point where it is a genuine threat to like the Kindred and the MF and the Seraphine? And like looking at the comp, looking at the things that are gonna go, like Malphite could just like pick some like corrupting potion and just survive the lane.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised we didn't see something like Silas, right? Or even another tank being picked into it, because I feel like there are a couple of tank options. I am surprised
I didn't see like another tank or a better bruiser that goes into Malphite.
Because like Silas is obviously the go-to point for Malphite counterpick now, right? Because he's able to steal the ulti and he wins the lane. He's mostly a magic damage focus. But other picks have seen a lot of priority as well, like the Kench recently, as well as Shen and Sion being staple picks into Malphite that normally answer it pretty well.
Yeah, and Shen would like mesh really well with what Abstract Chaos is going for, because now the Kai'Sa can go in and she has like this enormous shield from her own ult, the magic resistant armor she gets from Braum when he W's her, and then the Shen ultimate, and that is really good. But I mean, like right now, it just seems that Abstract Chaos is once again going for a comp that wants to really snowball. Like they think that they're the better team and they want to show it. But it's gonna be really hard for the Jax to like operate in the laning phase.
Another big point to talk about. That's what I was gonna say. Nico is in support for Shadowhopper and Blazing Midnight's playing the Seraphine mid lane. This changes both lane dynamics a fair bit.
Yeah, Seraphine is a good neutralizer. She doesn't care. Like she's just gonna double Q. She's gonna keep wave clearing. Like the thing, like with Seraphine, is like especially SR, you don't have that big of a kill pressure on her because your ranges kind of match up. And like unless Seraphine does like walk up, or you force the wave in a good position that to the point where she's threatened by the Hecarim, it's basically a stalemate in the mid lane. And with Shadowhopper playing Nico, like he's gonna try to go for the poke. He's gonna try, especially because Kai'Sa is short range, and like you have a lot of poke with MF and Nico. Like you can just double proc the Q on the Kai'Sa and like hit her with a double up from Misfortune, and make it rain here or there, and like Kai'Sa is gonna have a hard time.
Yep.
And like
because of the even lane natures of these champions now. There's a lot of pressure on Chicken, and then in response to that on Cryptication as well, to find proper ganks and in turn counter ganks to really kind of create leads and stop deficit, right? Because we know from new Neverland Voyagers draft, they're just trying to get into this mid game. They want to get into a mid and late game relatively unscathed, wait for Malphite tier 2 or 3 items to be a proper frontline threat. And so in turn, Chicken really wants to find a lead. So and he ends up taking the Ghost as well. So we're really looking at Chicken and the rest of his team to create leads through the jungler, try and find kills early, and especially this time, I think secure those first 2.
Yeah, and it is a repeat of game 1, where like Neverland Voyagers just want to survive the first 15 minutes. But this time it feels a little bit easier because there is less oppression from the side of Abstract Chaos.
Yep.
But the thing
absolutely
is,
yeah, that's the thing, because the first draft was a lot more defensive, wasn't it? But now they've drafted a more offensive comp, but in turn, Chicken and the rest of his team have drafted a little bit more defensively themselves.
And that just puts a really like heavy like weight on the Hecarim, because Hecarim needs to do something. If you don't do something in this game, suddenly you're really outscaled. Like like you can see Nico's even going Ignite, which like you can feel,
and
like,
electrocute as well.
Yeah, they're going for the kill pressure on the Kai'Sa. Like they want to win the lane because they know that top lane is gonna survive really well. Mid lane is have no problem. Like even Midnight is going barriers just in case something happens. So like Cryptification can just go for his marks. Bot lane is probably gonna have prio, and like it is gonna be another game on the timer for Abstract Chaos.
Yep. And definitely a lot of pressure now on Kamika, Chicken, and the rest of his team to, not only minimize maybe potential losses in the bot side, but also get Jackson and Nari ahead. Anyway, guys, going to do a quick 10-second pause, then we'll be heading into Game 2, Abstract Chaos versus Neverland Voyagers. And yep.
Yeah.
Great. Game 2, Abstract Chaos versus Neverland Voyagers. This time, Neverland Voyagers are going to be on blue side, so we've got Lil Skaterboy in the top lane, Cryptication in the jungle, Blazing Midnight in the mid lane, Envy on AD carry, and Shadowhop on support. And would you like to introduce Abstract Chaos?
Yes, and the top lane you have Kamakawi Wolf. You have ABC Chicken in the jungle on the Hecarim. You have JP Poop and the Ari in the mid lane. You have Bullet and Dickin Bale Benny in the bot lane.
I think it's Dickin Ball.
Dickin Bao, I think.
Dickin Ball Benny. Anyway, standard 5-point coming out. Cryptication does actually... Okay, cool. Cryptication drops his ward, and he's looking for the reset for that red trinket. Hopefully JPF actually interrupts him and doesn't just let it get it for free.
No, they just...
He lets it have it for free. Okie dokie. Well, look, great start from Cryptication. We want to see this jungle start happen a lot. I think the wall positioning's a little bit awkward. I don't really know what information you're going to get from that. But doing the standard, yellow trinket into red trinket into reset and then getting the red trinket could be a really easy way to get a little bit of information on the enemy jungler.
Yeah, I think that maybe Midnight spotted Chicken, and that's why they put the word in bottom river, just in case like he goes like red to blue to gank. But that sounds really unlikely. Like usually on Hecarim we try to like get a 4 or 5 camp clear, and then we look for games.
And we're going to see a regular start from Cryptication, getting this bot lane leash, and the Bullet and Dick and Bull Benny looking for maybe a cheese in the boss side, but they won't find it. At the same time, Chicken actually does a solo start.
Yeah, which means that both laners are going to be on opposite sides, and Jax is going to be stranded for the first 4 minutes of the game. And
surprised to see that the Malphite didn't go Corrupting Pot, though.
Yeah. I mean, but you can see, like, in this trade right now, like, Jax lost out on it, even though, like, he has Corrupting Potion. Eventually, Malphite is just going to regain his shield, and he has no problem dealing with the Jax, which is really, like, problematic. Yes, I mean, the whole thing is, how big of a lane lead can Kamikaze Rule, like, absorb before the Malphite is basically immune to him?
Yeah.
Because once again, like, the Malphite runs a much lower economy than Jax.
But the issue is with Malphite as well is that a lot of people underestimate his laning phase, right? He has the access to, I think Ground Slam is a really big... gank happens already, though. Level 2 coming in. Bullet just looked like a flash is burnt. Oh, and actually, Dick and Bull Bennett ended up burning both Flash and Cleanse. I must have strayed top lane at the worst time. But both summoners burned from Dick and Bull Benny and Bullet Bill, and the Bullet 43 even ends up burning Flash as well. This is really big for this lane because they were already under so much threat from this Nico MF copy. You can see Shadowhopper really abusing it now. He wants to take advantage of this lane. As trading happens, Dick and Bull tries to walk back, but he's just going to get chunked out for free, and they're in a fantastic spot. Flash Charm coming out, Ignite Burn, but has no mana left, just trying to follow up with autos, and the final auto is enough, plus the Ignite ends up picking up first blood onto that Seraphine.
That is really big. He even burned up the barrier as well, which gives him a really good window for Chicken to come back and visit mid lane again. Oh, Cryptification smited the scuttle from Chicken.
Why is my director camera not showing me this? Oh, and at the same time, Chicken's getting chunked out by Cryptification, walking into the top side. But you can see Ari and Jax were already on that. They're trying to maybe see if they can get a pick onto Cryptification, but the camera won't pan up. At the same time, bot lane's getting chucked out. Dick and Bull falling really low. Ignite bot onto Braum, and a kill trade ends up happening. Nico picks up the kill, but Kaiser gets a counter kill onto Shadowhopper there. Just a lot of fighting happening right now. And we can see, I think, kind of going in the edge for Abstract Chaos there.
I think, yeah, like for now, the Kaiser benefits more. But if you can stabilize the game for a few more minutes, then it's good. But like, yeah, like you can see how oppressive the Nico MF lane is. Like, if it wasn't the fact that they just tried the tower dive, they would have like had a big CS advantage. They could have maybe like poked them on the tower. Ooh.
JPF kind of learning his lesson a little bit there, because Blazing Midnight does get the reset, comes back into lane and chunks him very, very low. Cryptification now grabbing his blue and his Krug? Sorry, his what's it called?
Grom?
Grom, thank you. Oh my god, it just slipped my mind.
Okay,
and
bot lane is trying to find an angle.
Oh, they're trying to find the kill, but the Nico doesn't end up finding that Tangle Barb. No kill going to be made there, but he had the opportunity to freeze, but Envy's going to thin out that wave instead, and at the same time he scored to top side. And we're seeing a pretty stagnant lane. Kamika's done a really good job here of setting up a freeze. At the same time, he's already at a CS lead, almost 10 CS now in the first 5 minutes of the game, looking pretty good. We talked about the early game of this Malphite really kind of needing to be taken advantage of, and this is fair game in my eyes.
Yeah, and you can see like he's already 10 CS behind. He already did a recall. Yes, he's a little bit ahead because Jax hasn't recalled, but Jax still has TP. And both of them still have TP. Oh, it's getting greedy though.
Yeah, and this is the issue. We're not starting that corrupting pot on the Malphite, right? Because you can see just through a couple of rotations, he's already run in, which is going to minimize that threat. And Jax is going to look for that free reset.
Yeah, I mean, but little Skater Baby already had the free reset without the TP, which means he can like push this one TP back again, get something, and come back to lane. Like he could get a Bramble Vest, or he can like just finish the Steel Caps, which I think he's going for first.
JPF finds a wave shove in, has level 6 available, but misses the charm. Not going to see a Spirit Rush looking for a kill now, and just looks to set up some offensive vision. You can see those pinks entangled on red buff there. At the same time, Envy just going to catch this boss side.